If you've ever run an e-commerce store, you'll know that stuff can get messy quite quickly if you're not organised. And that's why we like to use shipping software. Now, one of my absolute favourites is Shippo. It has world-class features, but without all that unnecessary complication and at a lower cost. Now, some people think of e-commerce shipping software as just printing labels, but the best software like Shippo helps you to track all your orders, to run analytics, and also to get the best price shipping labels for your customers. And it will delight your customers where they have lower rates and an easy service to use. So in this video, we're going to look at the pros and cons of all of the features of Shippo. I'll give you my review of all of the different features, and at the end, I'll tell you who Shippo is designed for. So let's dive straight in. Now, Shippo is what's known as a multi-carrier shipping software, which means it allows you to ship your products to your customers using any carrier that you like, by getting the best rates that are available on the shipping platform. Now, Shippo has negotiated rates with all of the different main shipping suppliers like UPS, USPS, FedEx, people like that, which means that you get really cheap rates, which your customers will obviously love. But it isn't just a way of getting cheap shipping. It's also like a command center for all of your e-commerce shipping needs. Like, yes, one of the main features is that you can ship with all of these different carriers like UPS and some niche ones like Australia Post, or if you're where I'm from in the UK, Royal Mail. But it's not just about getting those rates. It's also like having a big command center for your whole business. Just from one dashboard, you can track all your orders, you can manage returns, you can create shipping labels, and you can get all those analytics. So if you are running an e-commerce business, you do really need e-commerce shipping software, and this is the best one in my opinion. Now that we've looked at what Shippo is, let's have a look at some of the features. First, starting with the pricing. Now, the best thing about Shippo's pricing is that it starts at free, so that you can get started without paying any money at all. Plus, in the free plan, you get all of these features. You can connect to all of the shipping rates, you can do international shipping, you can do automations, plus you can do integrations, and it supports up to 30 labels per month. So if you are just thinking about trying it or experimenting, you can do it without really any risk. Once you've done that, the shipping pricing scales as your business grows. So you can see you can do it either monthly or annual like most other softwares, but the pricing per month changes depending on how many labels you expect to create. And you can change this at any time, so you don't have to choose the higher label now. But it only goes up to $179 a month. Comparing this to something like ShipStation, which goes up to $799 a month and plus for enterprise level pricing, you're having quite a big saving here on your shipping plan. The other good thing about Shippo is that the API feature is included in the main plan, whereas with ShipStation, you have to pay extra for that plan. So the pricing for the API is also free, it's included in the main plan, but then if you get into the more advanced, you can get the pay-as-you-go level, which means that if the software that you currently use isn't integrated already with Shippo, then you can integrate it using their API, which is amazing. Now let's have a look at the main feature, which is the dashboard. Now the orders dashboard for Shippo is very straightforward and easy to use. Now I've imported some test orders here. I didn't want to share my actual orders with you for obvious reasons. But as you can see, it imports the orders and then it tells you some details about that order. So you can see the package size and the rates. Now these have got made up addresses, so they've got little, the address can't be validated because they're made up addresses. But as you can see, it's used my address here, which was validated, and it shows you the destination of that order. And it can show you what items they are, and you can add items into here. Plus you can go into the actual order itself and have a look at more details for the order. So if I click on the order itself, I can see what details are in the order, like what products the customers bought. Now if I want to create labels, I can create labels here. So I can create one-off labels and I can fill in all the details and it will send me to getting the best labels from their marketplace. Or you can also batch create labels by going back to the orders page, selecting all the orders and then clicking buy up here, which means you can batch create labels up to 100 in one go, which is really handy once you start to grow. From within this dashboard as well, you can also access your reporting, so you can see how much money you're spending on labels each month or the average price per label, so that you can see if you're improving on that level as well. And you can also adjust that by your time period. It's very straightforward and easy to use. And if you want to add anything such as packaging templates, you can do that all from within the settings page. So if I wanted to create a packaging template for like different weight sizes, for example, I could do that. If I wanted to update my automations, I can do that in here as well. Or if I wanted to change what my tracking page looks like, you can do all this within the settings. It's all super straightforward to do. And even someone who's a complete beginner at shipping should be able to work out exactly what's going on with all of the settings. Now the next feature is the automations. Now the automations on Shippo are very straightforward to create. They use functionality called if and then functionality, which means if one thing happens, then something else happens. Now this means that even beginners can create really nice shipping automations, even if they've never done any before. ShipStation, on the other hand, has very complicated automations. That's not to say they're not very powerful. If you have got a team behind you, you've got an operations team or a logistics team, then maybe ShipStation is going to be absolutely perfect because you can create those very detailed automations. But for most people, 90% of businesses, that's completely overkill. And especially if you're running the business yourself, there's no way you're going to understand how to create really complicated automations, and you probably won't ever need to either. So these are going to be absolutely perfect for you. When you go to create them, you can see it's like if, for example, order weight is above 5 kilograms, then you can assign a packaging template. And then within here, you can create a packaging template that is your heavy packaging template, so that a heavy sticker needs to go on the box, so that so that the shipping partners know that it's a heavy box. It's that easy to get set up. And once you've got them set up, they all run in the background without you having to do anything. You could also create automations for things like preferred carriers for specific locations. So if you're shipping to the UK, you could say your preferred carrier is Royal Mail. Or you could change return label generation so that it's automated rather than having to do it manually. Or you could do it so that there's different insurance settings based on what location the item's going to. It's very powerful. Now with ShipStation, you can do all these things and more, but you're never going to need any of them because unless you're really complicated, as I mentioned, it's not going to be helpful for you to create these very complicated automations. Now the next part is the tracking. Now this is one of the places where Shippo really shines. It allows tracking from nearly all of their carriers. I think it's like 98% of all of their carriers it allows tracking from. So basically anyone you're using, you can do it from. And if I log in here, I haven't got any tracking on mine because I was using test orders. But as you can see from this short GIF here, if you click into an order, it will show you the tracking number here that UPS have already generated. And when you click into that, it will show you the tracking page, which the customer will see when they click on their tracking, so they can track their order really nicely. Now this is perfect for your customer's experience, and it's so easy to get set up. It's all automated and it's pulled in directly from the shipping carrier, so you don't actually need to do anything. So even if a customer can't see their tracking details, all you'd have to do is go into their order, select their tracking details and send it to them, which is super straightforward. Now the next part I want to talk about was the reliability and the support. Now one thing that really stood out to me with two of Shippo's biggest competitors, ShipStation and EasyShip, is that their reliability is really not good. They've got a 2.9 star rating on Trustpilot, and EasyShip even has a 1.8 star rating. It was 1.9 last week when I was writing an article about this, so it's even gone down in the last week. It just shows it's got a really poor reputation. Apparently there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of issues with orders going missing, whereas with Shippo I haven't seen any of these problems. I haven't seen any downtime. It's got great reviews from all different sources, and you don't have any of that risk of taking on a tool like EasyShip where there are lots of problems, or ShipStation, which is really big, but maybe people are complaining more about the complication as well. Now, the last part I want to talk about was the integrations. Now, Shippo integrates with all of the main shipping platforms, plus some of the smaller ones as well, like Etsy. Now, this is quite a big difference to a lot of the other tools. Now, not many tools integrate well with Etsy, whereas Shippo is one of the only ones that does. As you can see, it's got all of the main ones here, and it's quite as straightforward as clicking on Shopify, entering your store URL. It takes you straight to your website where the integration happens automatically and your orders are automatically pulled in. You do this within 2 to 5 minutes. It's very easy and straightforward to do. And it integrates with all the main ones. So if you have got a store that sells in multiple places and multiple different platforms, different countries, for example, then it does it automatically just by integrating it with the platforms. And if there's any that don't integrate, you can use the API and integrate it with your software using the API, or you can use a tool like Zapier. So it's very straightforward. You can pull all your software in. On top of that, it integrates with all the main carriers, as we mentioned before. So even some of the small ones, which you might not have heard of because they're in different countries. But what it means is you can get the best rates possible for your shipments, and you can integrate with all your software around the world. So if you are shipping orders in different countries and using different marketplaces, for example, for different countries, you can integrate them with Shippo, and then you can get the best shipping rates as well. So who is Shippo for? Well, in my opinion, Shippo is best if you're either a small business just starting out with your e-commerce shipping software, or a growing business who wants to get started with automations, or even quite a big business that wants to use automations but doesn't have a big logistics team behind them in order to create the very complicated automations. Now, really, for 90% of businesses I've ever worked with, Shippo is by far the best one, and it's one I always recommend. And ShipStation I only ever really recommend if you're a big team with lots of logistics experience and very happy to create very complicated automations for very niche circumstances. Now, for most teams, that's not really necessary. On top of that, the pricing of Shippo is less than ShipStation, quite a lot when you get up into the higher order numbers. And it's much more straightforward to use. You don't have many complex workflows. The automations are easier to get set up, and the dashboard is just as clean and the analytics are very easy to understand. The only main downside is if you are looking to create very niche automations, then maybe ShipStation is a better option for you. So that's my final thoughts. For 90% of e-commerce business, I think that Shippo is by far the best choice. It has the best features for the best price, the lowest complexity. It's easy to integrate with all of your different softwares, and it integrates with all of the main carriers. And for that price, I think it offers so much value. It really is the easiest thing for me to recommend it. Now, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like to see more, then subscribe to the Digital Merchant YouTube channel. My name's Teddy, and I hope to see you on the next video.